Hey, what's up everybody? It's Skippy Ickum, Brutal Business Entertainment General. Doing an interview with my group today, Sintax, with my brother Lumi the Impaler. He did his half a video at his crib, I'm doing my part at mine. Doing some questions and answers for Raven from CorruptTV. Shout out to Raven. Gonna do a couple questions and answers. You know, get to know Skippy Ickum, get to know Sintax a little bit better. So we're gonna jump right into that. See what we have here. Her first question to me was, when and how did forming Sintax come about and happen? For that answer, it would have been 2013, I believe. Me and Lumi linked up, and he had reached out to me, told me he was a big fan of the music, really enjoyed what he was hearing from me, and I thanked him for checking it out, thanked him for being a fan. He told me he was an artist as well. Told me he was interested in possibly doing a song down the road. Now, over the years I've been approached by a lot of people to do songs, and obviously you can't just link up with everybody. You have certain things you look for yourself that you want to find in an artist and for you to consider working with them, and a lot of times it just doesn't work out. So I'm very selective with what I like listening to and what I like to work with, especially. And he reached out to me, sent me a couple tracks. A few days went by, didn't check them out. One day he messaged me again, was talking to me about just general shit, and I was like, I'm gonna check this kid out. So I popped on his tracks, and I was instantly impressed. Right from the get-go, you could tell there was lyrical ability, the metaphors and similes and storytelling, and everything I was hearing was just very impressive. Something you don't hear too often from a lot of artists that approach you. So got back to him, told him we were interested. We linked up to do a song, maybe 2 songs. We put out Perfect Disease, and great first track. Shortly afterwards, he went through a little bit of trouble, and he got locked up for about 19 months. So obviously went to a stop. I continued doing my solo project that I have, Skippy Ickum, and running the label and doing all that fun stuff. And he got out a little while later on, hit me back, told me he was really sorry that some shit happened, and he came between us writing music, but he was still interested in maybe doing another couple songs. We got together, we wrote The Omen on the spot at my crib the first time that we hung out after that, and when we went to the studio and recorded it, and we knew right then and there, something special here. So we started writing a little bit more. We were thinking about doing 4 or 5 songs, and 6 and 7, 8 and 9, ended up turning into a 15-song album that we just put out on May 20th for free download. So make sure you check it out. It just amazing music, hardcore, underground, horrorcore and hardcore, and that's what we're about. We're about bringing raw lyrical content to you. It's not for everybody, but for the people that enjoy it, they're going to understand that we're bringing back hardcore how it should be. So hopefully you enjoy it, and like I said, spread it around if you do. Name of the CD is called The Clinic, so make sure you check that out. May 20th, like I said, drop for free download on Bandcamp and SoundCloud, so download it and spread it to your friends. Jumping into the second question, because that kind of led us where we were. We just continued on since then, and the rest is history. We've just been writing ever since, and that's how we formed. So good shit. Great group, like I said, and we look forward to bringing you guys a lot more music and visuals. Second question Raven had for me was, bringing together Skippy Ickum and Lumi to form Sintax, what does this mean for a hardcore rapper and horrorcore rapper? Where will this take your creativeness? You've already seen it. Lumi has more of a hardcore background. Definitely comes with more of a hardcore sound, whereas I obviously am more of a horrorcore, very dark imagery and lyrics. So when we got together, it was kind of cool because we kind of switched roles. I'm still always going to have that horrorcore element, but I started going a little bit more hardcore with it. He went from being hardcore and keeping those elements to a little bit more horrorcore. So they kind of just mixed together to form, something pretty unique. And this album's definitely my most hardcore sounding sound. I would say this is by far the darkest stuff he's ever written. So it formed together to make, a really unique sound. We didn't know how that was going to work originally, and it meshed very well. It really made a unique sound in a group. So that's really what our sounds merged together to be. Third question is, what artists have you worked with on this album, and who do you wish to work with in the future? We get a great lineup of features on this album. First song that we did was Perfect Disease. It has our friend Ellie K on there. Thank you, Ellie, for being on the track. You killed it. We got my boy DKM from Ohio. Does a lot of producing for my own project. Did some promoting or producing on the new Sintax album as well. He did Suffer, and he was also featured in a couple other things as well. But good friend of mine, he featured on the album and produced some of the stuff on the album. We had Sleep Lyrical from Murder Music. Have a lot of my boys over at Murder Music. They're all killer, doing their thing. You know, represent and respect to them. But we got Sleep Lyrical from Murder Music on the album on the song Regrets. It's the last song on the album before it goes into the extra songs. Definitely an amazing track. We got Scrawler from the UK. Shout out to Scrawler and everybody, you know, Yaya and everybody that's involved with him. I mean, I think that's a bit. LK, Scrawler, DKM, Sleep Lyrical. I think that's pretty much it that's featured on the album. But definitely, we have some songs towards the end. Our bonus songs I have featured with Diabolic the Monster, Sleep Lyrical again. He has songs with Crumb and Blender of Bilderberg here in Pittsburgh. If you don't know who Bilderberg is, check them out. Fucking absolutely amazing group. Leading on to the next question. How has your life experiences developed your skills for this project as Sintax? I mean, everything that you see and associate with around you is going to influence you in some way or another. I think that it transfers into my music by taking the things I'm seeing and you know, visualizing it in my music, whether it's a good emotion or bad emotion. I mean, I might see something but not speak directly about it, take the emotion that I feel from that and write from that and get influence and motivation from that and turn it into something completely different, but it stemmed from the experiences and the things that I've seen. So I just try to take everything I see, everything I read, everything I hear, and just mesh it all up in a big pot and fucking dump it into my music. And I think I do that. I think everybody does. You just take the life experiences and you somehow get something from it, and that's where you get your motivation, or should at least get your motivation. Number 5 is, for those of you who do not know how this works, do you create your own music and beats, or does someone else create this for you? You know, I myself am not a producer. I am strictly an artist. I make a lot of the obviously musical side of things and a lot of ideas for the visual side of things for my project, for my label, for Sintax as well, you know, as well as Lumi. But I do not produce music as far as making the beats. I work with a lot of very, very good producers in the scene. I mentioned DKM earlier, an absolutely mind-blowing producer and engineer, great rapper. If you haven't checked him out, please do. DKM, different kind of man from Ohio. Shout out to you, my brother. Thank you for everything you've done for me over the years. I mean, you were very much a part of what was Sintax and Brutal Business and Skippy, Ickum, so thank you. So he makes a lot of my personal beats for my music. You know, he's made the last 3 albums worth pretty much exclusively. There might be a couple odd songs here and there that are not him, but 99% of it is. Aside from that, we work with Life and Death Productions, Anna Domini, just Mike Fabian. We got some stuff coming up with that we are you know, working on right now and looking at to put out. So I mean, just a lot of really good producers. If you haven't checked out any of them, please do. All those names are definitely hot. But we you know, have them either custom make beats to us, or what, like DKM, he custom tailor makes everything to me, or what we're trying to do for that project. Some of the other songs, maybe we'll find a song that's been pre-made that has a sound exactly what we're looking for, and we, you know, purchase that song and write to it. So it kind of meshes together. We're not producers, even though Lumi has some producing skill. We pretty much go elsewhere for it. Next one says, how does today's world events and everyday life influence your lyrics and songs? Well, that's kind of a double-parter off the question that she stemmed from earlier. Like I said, I take everything around me and put it into lyrical form. The government, religion, and 2 big topics in the Sintax album, obviously, 2 big topics in general. that I stem a lot of feelings from, and you know, everything else that I see as well. So as I already answered that earlier, I'm not going to get too detailed into that one. And we got number 7 saying, with reviewing your album, I am drawn to ask you, what are your thoughts on today's mainstream music and industry that is being put out? Well, I mean, the only thing I can think of when I think of that question is fucking garbage. The scene is garbage. You know, as far as rap goes, I'm not speaking of all genres, almost all genres of music have certainly got watered down over the years and are not what they once were. Heavy metal, you know, it's certainly been watered down over the years. It's still heavy as fuck, but it's just, there's not that originality to a lot of it. I've heard it, it's just like the same thing being redone over and over again. Country music, it's went downhill, and it's all fucking pop country now. It isn't real rebel country. You know, hip hop, watched it go from being very lyrical and deep, you know, hard-hitting music to just the most ridiculous shit that I've ever heard in my life. The shit that I'm hearing on the radio or on TV and rap music right now is fucking just pitiful. I can't stand it. I'm not about it. Lumi ain't about it. We're not about where the state of hip hop is right now. Obviously, there's some great people like, you know, Army of the Pharaoh Clique, Jedi Mind Tricks, you know, Self-Titled, everybody involved in that ill bill. A lot of great rappers out there, but them are the ones you don't really see too often. That's fine. They're hardcore underground, and that's what we're involved in, and that's the people we like. But I just, when I hear a lot of the stuff that I'm hearing these days, I don't even know how people are listening to it. I grew up listening to rap music and loving it, and it all being very, very good, and then now it's 99% trash, 1% amazing, and that's sad. It needs to revert the other way around. So that's why when we come, we might do a little bit of a darker sound that's not for everybody, but for the people it is, like I said before, it's legit. I mean, it is true hardcore music. It's lyrical, well thought out. We don't come with that fucking cookie cutter, watered down bullshit. So we promise to always bring you hard fucking hitting music. Stomach's growling like a motherfucker. I'm starving. Let's look at this one. Number 8. Any shout outs to those listening and following your work? What do you wish to tell your fans? Do you have any advice in today's youth? I mean, I want to give a shout out to everybody that's stuck by me. I mean, there's too many people to name. You know, at one point in time I used to try to name everybody. I don't do that anymore. I mean, every now and then I'll give very specific shout outs for things that I feel need to be, but for the most part I say thank you to everybody that stood by me, shared my music, helped with my music, helped with our music, and, you know, given us the opportunity to grow and become bigger in the scene and do the things that we're doing. So thank you so much. I mean, people I would shout out, I'd like to shout out my sponsor, Uber Glass. If you have any type of glass smoking needs, you know, smoking apparel, I should say, bowls, bongs, anything involved with that, any type of you know, e-cigarettes or juices right now, you know, certainly hit them up. Great sponsor of mine. Thank you guys. Shout out to Dugan, my producer, or my engineer I should say, for always just making amazing music with us and turning it and bringing our music to life. To DKM, like I said, for making all my music, to all the other producers that we've worked with, all the promoters, Underground on Top, Xanax Productions, all our fans and friends. Like I said, thank you. So thank you to pretty much everybody that's ever helped us. And as far as what advice would I give today's youth, be yourself. And whether it's in music, whether it's just as a person, don't be influenced to be what you think everything around you wants to make you, because there's a lot of influences that are not necessarily good, subliminal, that are going to try to turn you a certain way. Think for yourself. Always be the one to think outside the box. I mean, this stems from me and Lumi's fact of conspiracy theorism, and a lot of the things that we believe and a lot of the things that we follow or read or learn about are different than the normal. And when we tell people, which we don't usually try to unless it comes up, but when we tell people they automatically judge and, oh, no, it isn't that way, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's just because you're stuck inside a box your whole life and told that's what those walls mean and that's what they are, that when anybody tells you something from the outside, you don't want to believe it. Don't let anybody put you in a box. Always be you, think for yourself, you know, learn your own fucking information, study from that, and make your own beliefs and theories from them. That's all I can say as far as advice. For artists, I would have just advised keep pushing. There's gonna be a lot of times and a lot of things that happen to you during your journey musically that are just gonna suck and bring you down and make you just so frustrated with it. But you just gotta keep pushing and never stop. The more you work, the more you promote, the more you grind, the bigger you're gonna be. It's just how it works. So don't ever let it shut you down or stop you. If it does, that means you weren't meant to do this. So. You know, it will weed out the weak, so if you weren't meant to do this, I apologize. Hey, you know, have fun with it, but, you know, for anybody trying to do this for a serious thing in life, then just keep pushing, never stop, and just grind as hard as fuck, you know, as hard as you possibly can. Network with anybody you can, anyone and everyone. The more people you know, the better you're off. Alright, a couple more questions and we're done. Where would you like to see yourselves in 5, 10, 20 years from now? I mean, short term, mid, and long. Short term, 5 years, I would say I would like to see Brutal Business as a major component and name in the underground, you know, hardcore scene and hip hop, as well as clothing. For anybody who doesn't know, Brutal Business, as I said earlier, is my record label / clothing company. It is an official company. It's an LLC. We are working on a lot of very big plans coming up with clothing, apparel, and merch line, as well as already being a label with 10 people from 4 different states right now on the label. So I'm doing a lot of big things musically, booking, recording, releasing music, making clothing, and selling clothing. So that's the name I want to make sure that Brutal Business gets out there and is known quite vividly in the scene over the next 5 years. 10, obviously even further than that, be one of the major labels to go to in clothing designs for underground hardcore. And 20, I mean, hopefully reaping the benefits of that, having a very successful business, continuing to play music and always recording a lot of music, and just being very successful. But at that point, being very content and have a family and be able to share that with my family. So that's my goals over that span of time. 2 questions left. What would you like to tell the world? What would I like to tell the world? I mean, watch out for us. We're coming. I mean, anybody in the underground, we're coming. We're not here to fuck around. I've been around for a long time, as most of you know. Been rapping for 16 years at this point. Been pushing it pretty hard for the last 5. For a big chunk of that, as a lot of you would probably know, or if not, you now will. Was in a very big death metal band, and that was a major passion of mine. I pushed the metal first, and was always very, very into what we did with that group. It was called Souls of Ares. Make sure you check that out too. Fucking brutal music. Shout out to all my guys from the band. But it was great experiences that led me into this. I've been pushing the rap. After we broke up, I started dropping back to my second level of music, which has now become ultimately my most favorite ever, which is lyricism and rapping. And I've been doing that roughly for about the last 6, 7 years, pretty fluidly pushing it, and formed the group now. So I mean, I would just like to tell the world, watch out for us. I mean, we're not going to stop. We are here to bring you the best we can possibly bring you, and be one of those names that hopefully hardcore fans never forget. Got a little sidetrack there for a moment. That'll happen. ADD. All right, last question. What is your favorite song on the Sintax album? Damn. That's always a tough question. What's your favorite song of yours? What's your favorite song on the album? Who's your favorite artist alive? These are questions that are hard to answer because it's hard to ever just pick one. You like, different artists for different reasons, different songs for different reasons. I like Operation Deception heavily because it's one of the songs, as I talked about earlier, let's think outside the box. some conspiracy theorem type songs. I love it. It's a little bit different than what we normally write. Definitely see some more down the road coming from us. But then I like The Omen and Castlevania because they're so hard and so in your face that you can't help but notice and listen to it and vibe to it and be like, wow, you know, that's force behind it. You got Regrets. That's just a beautiful song that, you know, you can listen to over and over again. To songs like Suffer that are eerie and stick in your mind and haunt you. So it's really hard for me to pick, you know, just one favorite song on the album. So I'm not going to. I'm just going to tell you that I love the whole album. Please check it out. Like I said, May 20th it dropped for free download on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Go download a copy of it. Leave us feedback. Spread it to all your friends. And get it out there. If you like what you hear, please help us. That's what we're here for, to spread it and make more music. The more fans we have, the more we're able to, you know, benefit from that and create more music to you guys. So, you know, please spread it. That's the end of the interview. I want to thank Raven from CorruptTV for having us, you know, and interviewing us and doing all the stuff you've done for us in the past. We appreciate it. Much love to you. Like I said, check out the album from Sintax. Look forward to my next solo album, my third professional full-length entitled Giving Birth to Death, dropping August 6th. Going to be by far one of the best underground albums in a couple of years, I think, as far as features and just amazingness. There's so much work that's gone into this, so many great names on this. I think you guys are going to want to tune in and see what I have to unleash on you guys as far as a new album and a new project. So keep eyes out for that. We got some new videos coming. My new video, True Psycho, just dropped a couple weeks ago. You can check that out on Facebook and on YouTube. I got a couple other videos you can check out as well. Sintax is releasing the video for The Omen in about a month or so, so make sure you check that out. And yeah, just, you know, get caught up to date on Brutal Business Entertainment, Skippy, Ickum, Lumi the Impaler, Sintax, the rest of my guys. And thank you so much for taking the time to check out my interview. So much more on the way. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Brutal Business, bitch.